Good evening. Welcome to this first story time for the narrative campaign, Cegorach's Last Laugh. I thought it would be fitting to, take advantage of the fireplace, story by the fire. So, now most of these videos will have, most of these scenarios will have a prologue. They'll all have a prologue. Some may even warrant an epilogue afterward too. So, let's just get into this one for the first mission, called Epiphanies. The air was still and the light dim in the hall where two hooded figures stood silently staring at the central pedestal. Upon it sat a single ancient crystalline tome that has remained shut for millennia. It seemed to slowly, almost imperceptibly pulse with a faint blue light. A third hooded figure stood motionless close to the entryway to the vault. It was difficult to tell through the mask, but the figure seemed to be watching the other two hooded figures intently. After a short while, a fourth dark-cloaked figure emerged from the shadows of the vault and approached the pedestal. Peering into the featureless mask of the first hooded figure, he began to speak. "You hear it too, do you not?" The Dark One continued. "It is the whispers of the laughing god himself, and he is telling us it is time to begin." "What are we to begin?" came the question from behind the skull-shaped mask of the second hooded figure. "The preparation for the final act," replied the Shadow Seer. "I do hear the whispers, but do not know what they mean," the Dark One replied. "Let us walk to the Wraith Tower, and I will instruct you on your next task." The Dark One led the Shadow Seer and the Death Jester through the elegant, twisted passages as the third hooded figure gracefully trailed behind at a distance. No words were spoken by any of them, as the weight of what the whispers revealed consumed their thoughts. Upon reaching the vaults of the Wraith Tower, the Dark One turned and saw his three companions staring around in disbelief at what they were seeing. He began, "Yes, there is a great deal of activity here now, for the humans have begun a desperate and devastating chapter in their story. The vaults of this tower are now filling with the artifacts and knowledge uncovered and often discovered by the humans referred to as the traitors. This is the prelude to the epic that will culminate in the final act. As those here assemble this new knowledge or record the humans' dealings with chaos, you must begin the preparation of the cast that will play on the stage when it is time. It will take millennia to assemble the cast Cegorach desires, but they will dwell here to rehearse their parts until the days of the prologue come." "What must we do?" asked the Shadow Seer. The Dark One answered, "You will begin to search the fields of battle on which the humans struggle and find those that are fervent in their desire and drive to destroy the minions of chaos. This will be unprecedented, but the Laughing God has made it clear that these cast members must come from races with no Eldar blood." "What?" came the reply from both the Shadow Seer and the Death Jester, as the third figure leapt forward with a blur of motion, landing in a crouch before the Dark One. "Yes, Cegorach has made it clear that he will create his cast from those races who willfully oppose chaos. Then, ahead of the final act and Ranadandra, he will unleash his grand army. This will be known as the Prologue. You will select those exemplars of their race and gather them together to reveal to them the true nature of their struggle and their role within the greater scheme. Share with them Cegorach's wisdom and offer them the chance to join. If they refuse, they will disappear. If they accept, return them to me. The three of you have been chosen by Cegorach to complete this task. You must not fail, and as the humans are even now waging terrible war upon each other, the opportunities to find the chosen of Cegorach are many. Go now and select those whom Cegorach has called." With that, the Dark One retreated into the twisted halls of the Wraith Tower. Telepathically speaking to the Shadow Seer, the Dark One continued, "Begin your search on Falrinth." Turning to his two companions, the Shadow Seer relayed his final instruction, and as one, they turned and disappeared into the webway. So that's the introduction to the first mission of this narrative campaign. And I'd like to have the second part of this video kind of discuss the special mission in this particular case. This one actually is a custom scenario, and I like to go over a couple of the details so that you kind of understand what's going on ahead of the video. Now the scenario is a full 7 turns. It's made that way because it does represent a rearguard action, so there's not a whole lot of uncertainty about when it should end. It's got to go its full course. So it is going to be a longer battle, and I didn't want this scenario introduction to kind of make the length that much longer. So essentially, though it is set during the 30K Horus Heresy period, it represents an action that occurs after a tremendous struggle for a city on the planet of Felrin. Now, it's a rearguard action for the Alpha Legion, who are trying to prevent any of the loyalists from getting to their evacuation point and wreaking havoc, right? So the Alpha Legion will be starting on 1/4 of the board. It's going to be corners. Quarters, actually. You can have opposite quarters. And the Dark Angels will be trying to wipe them off the board. That's the whole point, really. So it is strictly a kill point mission. But a couple interesting twists. The first thing is, though it's 30K, we're going to use 40K org charts and try to keep it a little bit cheaper, if you will. One of the things 30K does is it really tries to emphasize the large massed units that participate in the epic. Unfortunately, by the time a battle has run its course, a lot of those units are much less than full strength. So by using the 40K org charts and what have you, you're able to more reasonably purchase a strong force at the 1500 point level that we're putting this battle at. So all the units will be 30K units or models representing using 40K codexes. So that's the only kind of that's the thing that's maybe a little hard to get through. So if you're used to 30K rules, you're not going to see that in this particular battle. There will be another mission where there is 30K, but not this one. Now, one of the key features of this is the allies of the Alpha Legion are the Imperial Guard traders. Well, they're not Imperial Guard yet, but the regular traders, human guard traders that kind of join them. Now, being Alpha Legion, they're a little more wily, and so there are several locations on the battlefield, ruins, where the Alpha Legion player can secretly deploy his, we'll call it Imperial Guard troops. That's the codex he'll have to draw it from. He can only use Imperial Guard troops out of that codex. No HQ, no fast attack, no elite or anything. So anyway, let's take a quick look at the battlefield itself, and then we'll talk more about how things are going to shake out. Okay? Okay, so here you can see the battlefield is a ruined cityscape. Upper right-hand corner is the Alpha Legion deployment zone. Lower right-hand corner, the Dark Angels deployment zone. Now, what's key here is the ruins marked with numbers 1 through 6 are the potential locations where the Alpha Legion player can set up a hidden deployment of some of his Imperial Guard troops. Now, I will leave the specifics about which ones he actually deployed in separate. Those will be revealed during the battle report themselves. But the Dark Angel player will not know where they could be. Actually, one correction: it also includes number 7. So, all of the red numerals are where he could place some of his hidden Imperial Guard units. Now, this is going to allow potentially the Alpha Legion player to set up very, very close to what will be the Dark Angels player, and vice versa. In this case, the key with this is that this is essentially a ruined city. There are only a few areas on it that are not ruins, and so look at this. The supply depot, we're going to call that basically a ruin still, because it'll be 4 up cover for this one, and the building on it is not with the green building. This is a supply depot is number 8. The green building will not be impassable. They'll be able to walk over the top. Buildings A, B, and C are all special buildings in this. They're actual buildings. A represents a 3-story large building. Armor value is 12 all around. It's 4 hull points, 10 men per floor type thing. Building V is 2 sections. It's a stronger facade, so it's it's solid, so it's AV 14, armor value 14. Each section is separate. Each section has 3 hull points, but only 10 men can fit in each section. And there is an internal entrance between the 2 buildings. Other than that, there's an external entrance on the end of the lower level, and on the rampart, there's a door into the taller section. Now, the building C is a dilapidated bastion, so it's really run down. It's taken some damage. It's only got 2 hull points left. Its armor value is 12, so it's hurting. Otherwise, it's a weaponless bastion. So that's the nature of the board, and it really, both players were given this so they can kind of plan their deployments out. Okay, so as you notice, there's opposite deployment zones in the corners, and there are ruins throughout the whole thing. There's plenty of open space, so there's good shooting lanes, but a lot of good cover, so that it's not going to be a slaughter fest for anything that's on the table. Now, as far as objectives go, it's a strictly kill point mission, and the only secondary objectives that exist are Slay the Warlord and Line Breaker. Okay, Line Breaker makes sense because the Alpha Legion, again, to try to keep the Dark Angels as far from the evacuation zone as possible. They should try to move up. Dark Angels are going to try to push them back as far as they can, so Line Breaker makes sense. There is no First Blood, not in this particular mission, because it's just kill points. So we'll just go ahead and deal just strictly. Each unit gets a point. Warlord, those they're important. So when those are killed, those score the extra point. So that's the scenario in a nutshell, and I hope you enjoy the battle report that comes from it. Stay tuned after the battle report. There'll be another video, and we'll actually do an epilogue for this particular mission as well to further tell the story. All right. So enjoy it. Share, like, subscribe. Tell your friends about this particular campaign. I hope you enjoy it, and let's get on to the battle. Okay. See you in the next video. Bye.